And I love it that I tell myself, it's not a question of will I be a mother, it's a question of when.
Yeah.
And I promise myself, and I'm sticking to it, that
it will happen.
It will happen.
It will happen. Can I? No.
Go ahead. Go, no, we're so excited.
Listen, we tried for 5 years
same.
off and on.
Yeah, we're
you know what
5
I mean?
years.
There were times I almost died. I had a horrific incident that happened to me, and we stuck through it. You deserve to be a mother, and I believe you will.
You have an amazing voice. Why are you hiding it from the world? Why are you not making music? I hate you. Oh. Really? One, I'm scared to fail. So I've had this solo album, people, that I've been saying is coming out for the last 5 years. I'm scared to fail. I don't like the sound of my own voice. What? Wow. And that's honest. In 3LW, I probably enjoyed the music side more because it was like R&B, it was more of my thing. But I felt like in Cheetah Girls, they praised the fact that I sounded so young. And as a 31-year-old woman, sometimes I hear myself recorded and I still think I sound really young. But for a long time, I think when I finished Cheetah Girls, I got a record deal at Def Jam, and it didn't go the way I thought it was gonna go. Like, there was so much more to music than just what I love about music. I grew up singing in church. I sing every day, nobody knows it, but I love to sing.
I hear it every day.
And I felt like the music business was different than when I got in the game at 16 years old. It was about music and talent and singing, and to step out on my own and let my voice be heard, I'm scared.
Yo, life is crazy, and how you evolve and change from what you thought when you were younger to what you think when you're older is so different. Like, I can say that for myself. What I thought at 19 years old when I first got breast implants versus I won't even take drugs right now when I need to get a cavity filled. Like, I recognize my mortality. Do you get what I mean? Like, I don't want to do anything. I have so much to look forward for my future. I have a great marriage. I have children that I want to have. You know, like, I don't want to do anything that's going to get in the way of that. So I consider these things, and I just wish that younger people, because I'm sure that there's a lot of young women out there that are just like not thinking long term, and they're just like, oh, I want to have a bomb booty. I know what that feels like. I wanted to have big boobies. I get it. But I've changed my mind. I wish that we could reach out to these people and explain to them that it's just not worth your life. You hear stories on Instagram about girls going to the Dominican Republic and trying to get their bodies done. And these are young girls with young children, and they end up losing their lives.
I think it's crazy because when I look at you, I really think about my teen years. We literally grew up together in bunk beds in New Jersey.
We did.
And I thank God for the time that I got to actually talk to you. A few years back, we had seen each other at an Us Weekly party.
I remember that.
Years ago.
Years ago, yeah.
And we sat down and we talked everything out, and I was able to apologize to you if ever, you know, there was a lot that went on in that time that now looking back is just like, we were so young and it was crazy.
Yeah.
And that I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, never meant any harm towards you. And that I think you're talented and beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, and that we had that moment together privately, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I have an amazing dad, you know, but like, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
I know what you're
trying to say.
to
But you know, like, sometimes if you saw, like, my mom went through a lot. Yeah. I am Papi, I mean the best. Like, I hate saying that, but if I could delete some things of some moments where you're like, oh, but then you look back and you're like, oh, maybe you had a lot of pressure on your life. Maybe you're the only one in this country from your entire family. You're alone. Like, there's so many things that now as an adult I could be like, okay, I could get it. I have a better understanding. And that's why I wish I could forget so I could have
a better relationship.
Yes.
You really talked about loneliness right now, and that really made me think about being in a relationship where I was spending a lot of time alone, and when they would come around, I actually felt lonelier.
How about that?
Like, your presence made me feel that much more alone, and it made me feel less like me.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
when I'm with you, I don't feel like myself. I'm walking on eggshells. I'm people pleasing. I'm trying to be something
That's a
or
lot of work.
someone that I'm not. So that moment when I realized, wow, yeah, I'm spending a lot of time alone, but when you come around, it makes me feel even more lonely.
Wow.
Yeah. That to me was that breaking point.
Just in this last season, sometimes watching the show back, there's been like a significant weight gain, but it's not just weight gain. I sometimes look puffy or really bloated, especially in my face and my fingers. I've even seen fans write like, oh my God, why does she look swollen? And just being honest,
Don't write that, people. Don't write
I know.
that.
But that's the reality of, Instagram. So in that, I have done multiple cycles of IVF during this season, and I recognize that that does cause bloating and weight gain and those kinds of things. And I think even with the hormonal changes of going through those cycles, you don't feel yourself.
Yes, yeah.
You know, it's like hormones and shots, and it's just,
I know
it's a
very
lot,
well.
and then you bloat and you feel. You just don't
It's a
feel
lot.
sexy. And then in your mind, it's also the difference of like, I'm doing this for a greater purpose.
Yes.
And so you're just like, just go for it. And then you see videos and you're like, why do I look like that? Maybe 2 years ago, I had lost 20 pounds and felt so great about it, and it kept the weight off throughout the pandemic. So then to like see it go back, it's like, am I disappointed in myself?
But
at
this
the same
is
time,
why we try
it is
to-
for a greater purpose.
But this is
Yes,
why
it is.
I don't care if I was like ready to
Right.
go on those
You have
shows,
your baby, you have
my
your baby.
1,000 pound
But
life,
this
whatever.
is why we try to stress body positivity.
Yeah. I rarely feel like a fish out of water,
Uh-huh.
but we actually went to dinner with some pastors' wives with my husband.
Oh.
And in the conversation, these women were like, well, I was a virgin until I was married. Girl, I was like, oh.
That can't be good.
Not I. So they were sharing their stories, which I thought was absolutely beautiful. But imagine a dinner table where everyone is like, he's been my same boyfriend since I was 4.
Oh, wow.
And somebody else was like, we got married at 12.
Yes.
And I was just like, well, actually, I think I sipped my margarita and said, oh no, that definitely wasn't me. I was no virgin. Like, I had to break the ice in some
they
sort of
clutch
way.
their pearls?
You know what's the best part about it? They didn't. They laughed, and we're actually so much closer even now. Obviously, they weren't really married at 12 and 3, but they were very young and had been with the same man. I was like, well, that was not my story. I was like, well, I guess I feel like a hoe at this table. I actually think I said that. And they laughed.
Oh, my
and it was like,
God.
let's just break the ice.
Right.
And it ended up being so much better. And they're actually some of my really best
that's the
friends
reason
these
why
days.
some-
I've always had to take care of my health, specifically because at 15 years old, I was diagnosed with the autoimmune disease Hashimoto's, which affects your thyroid. It attacks the thyroid. So I've been on medication since I was 15 and kind of aware of, I know this sounds weird, but literally if my medication would change, I have to go to the doctors, endocrinologist once a month to take my blood so that they can tell me what my levels are. But I've always had to be really aware of how I feel because it can indicate if I have too much of the hormone that your thyroid secretes or if it's under. So little things like whether I'm jittery, then that means that I'm like sped up.
Yeah.
Or if I'm feeling super sluggish, that might mean that my thyroid is underactive. So I'm just really aware of that. Crazy thing, I recently saw a nutritionist. This is gonna bug you out. This is actually a great point that I feel like you guys are gonna love. I had a BMI test where you stand on the machine and it tells you what your body mass index is. And it is a known thing that if your body mass index is over 40%, 40% of your body is fat, then that actually means that you are medically obese.
Yeah.
So people can hear that and think if you're medically obese that has to mean that you are, overweight, super overweight, when it actually just means that more than 40% of your body is fat. Guys, I had 46.9%. And the doctor was like, you're considered obese. Like you have 46, I know, 46 point, I mean, I am definitely on the thicker side these days.
I love it.
A little juicy in these arms. But in that moment, he said, this is something really concerning because at this point, you are on the spectrum of like highly getting heart disease, heart attack, diabetes, and those kinds of things. And I just want people to know that you do not have to be what people consider fat or like they say.
Coming up behind that.
Yeah.
Because I told you, I started looking at my health once I got healthcare.
I actually came across a thread online that I want you guys to check out where users were listing promises that they've made to themselves. Now, some examples were, I will always take care of myself and I will never ignore myself.
So ladies, are there promises that any of you've made with yourself that you vowed to always, always keep? And are you sticking with them? Mine was not to give up on my dream of being a mother. I literally joke with Israel, I'm like, I am either the most resilient human being or I am wildly delusional.
No.
I tell them I'm either one or the other. Because, you know, we get these bad notices and it'll be like, and it didn't work this time. Or, you know, I've done multiple cycles of IVF and so many other things. And I'll be sad for a day. Like, I literally will cry. Sure. And Iz will be so worried about me and, like, call my mom and be like, you know, she's okay. And, like, the next day, I know this sounds psychotic. I'll be like, okay, I found 3 new baby names. And he'll be like, you're good? Like, and I don't know why I refuse to let this be the end of my story. I know that it's not, and I love it that I tell myself it's not a question of will I be a mother, it's a question of when.
Yeah.
And I promise myself, and I'm sticking to it, that
it will happen.
It will happen.
It will happen. No.
Go ahead. Go, no, we're so excited.
Listen, we tried for 5 years off and on.
Yeah, we're
you know
5
what I mean?
years.
There were times I almost died. I had a horrific incident that happened to me, and we stuck through it. You deserve to be a mother, and I believe you will.
Let me tell you something.
I believe
God makes no mistakes.
Yeah.
And it's all in His time.
Amen.
And if you say you believe in Him, it will happen.
I know.
So when we said dream big,
Yeah.
you keep dreaming big.
I'm dreaming it, and I'm holding on to that.
Yes.
And that's a promise I will never, ever, ever give up on.